Ah, alrighty. Hi, guys. It's Bernie here from sunny San Diego with our very first Ansell live stream. I'm super excited, and as you guys found out, we had a slight problem. It was scheduled for 11:30 p.m. Pacific in YouTube, and that obviously was a mistake. Some guys were kind enough to notify me of that, so we made it 11:30 a.m., 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'm glad you're all here and watching the live stream. So that's cool. So here's what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna tell you the whole story about Ansell, why we started Ansell, why we ended up where we are right now, being a player in the hyper-converged infrastructure field, and we're going to demo lots of our new features. You can ask live questions, and we're gonna answer your live questions. And obviously, as in most live streams, there actually is an offer in this live stream. So stay tuned until the end, and we're gonna have a very special offer for you, just as a small reward of watching this live stream all through the end. I have Joe with me at this time. Um, since it's a live stream, it could be Joe Rogan, but no, his last name is not Rogan, but Wono Hadi Joyo. So, Joe, maybe you introduce yourself. All right, cool. All right, can anyone confirm that we heard the audio of Joe as well? So I heard him well, but I'm not sure. It's my first live stream. I hope his audio got streamed as well. All right. So yeah, Ansel. Let's start with the history of computing. So in the very early days, each computer was siloed and each server was siloed. So everyone had their own computer. It had its own RAM. It had its own CPU and its own storage. It was called direct attached storage. Um, but it was basically a silo, right? If one of your servers failed, then there was no way for the other one to take over because it didn't have access to the storage. And also it was difficult to scale because, if you do like scaling out, have some load balancing, all those instances that handle the large load need to access some shared data. So that wasn't there in the beginning. So then at some point in time, something came out called converged infrastructure. And with converged infrastructure, we had an opportunity to share storage. But that was on a separate device. It's called a SAN, storage area network. And that has its own storage. It's usually redundant with some RAID and things like that. And through that, you could have several computers, several servers, and they all access the same storage on those SAN devices. But that has its disadvantages also because the SAN in the end is still a single point of failure, which we don't like to have. And then if you want professional SAN devices, they are like crazy expensive, those NetApp things and all these kind of things. So quite recently, a trend came out called hyper-converged infrastructure. And what that basically means, it's a virtual SAN. So you have lots of servers, each has their direct attached storage, but we use that direct attached storage to create a virtual file system that's distributed all over those servers. And if one goes down, the others can just take over. Plus, you get unlimited scalability because all your servers that you scale horizontally can access that same amount of shared data. And that's why we ended up in that space. We launched ADS, Antsle Distributed Storage. Really cool stuff. We launched it last week. The reception was overwhelming. Thanks everyone for all your purchases, all your feedback, and all the sign-ups for our grow plan, which is the one that you need to basically play in the hyper-converged infrastructure field. So, and Antle's mission, just as a reminder, is to make the private cloud and also on-prem cloud as easy as possible. So we feel what we have right now, there's the public cloud. You can host your stuff on AWS, on DigitalOcean or something. And then, it's becoming simpler and simpler in the public cloud. Companies like DigitalOcean set out to simplify things that AWS started. But if you look at the private cloud, it's complicated stuff, right? Even if you want to implement something on VMware, on Nutanix, on scale computing or something, they have high minimum number of nodes and minimum number of locations, and it's really hard to spin up your first virtual servers and things like that, right? And that's Antle's mission. And I'm super thankful that our customers mirror that back to us every day, that we're actually succeeding in that, and that it's so easy to spin up your instances, tear them down, create your own templates, and there's lots and lots of use cases where that is so important. And it goes all the way from Fortune 500 companies and large government agencies that are among our customers, and we're super thankful for that. It goes through MSPs and all the way down, and a lot of cybersecurity companies, cybersecurity organizations within larger companies. A very growing field where easily spinning up your instances and creating your scenarios is so important. And it goes all the way down to even home lab users. So that's Antle's mission, and it has been a fun ride so far, and acceptance has been just awesome. So that's where we are right now, and in this live stream, we just want to demo you a little bit of Ant-Man in general, so that those among you that haven't used Ant-Man before or anything get some sort of insight and how it all works. And then obviously the special thing of this specific live stream is ADS, Antsle Distributed Storage, which makes our infrastructure really agile and hyper-converged. So Joe is going to show you something about that. After that, I'm going to talk about the roadmap, where we're going, because obviously things like our business continuity, automated backups and stuff is stuff that's going to be further developed. We have the software-defined networking. There's more stuff to come on that front. We're going to come up with a very specific cybersecurity solution. And then also, obviously, the ADS is going to evolve. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what's on our roadmap, and also discuss it with you guys. So that's why we do this live. And as mentioned, in the end of the video, there's going to be a very special deal. So make sure you watch it to the end to reap your reward. All right. So let me read a little bit of the comments that came in so far. Oh, we didn't hear Joe. All right. So why is that then? Let me figure that out. But you guys hear me, right? Is that correct? So Okay. Okay, so do you guys hear Joe now? Oh, still. Yeah, I added the Zoom audio, and Joe is here through Zoom. So let's wait a little bit for the feedback. It takes a few seconds until I can read. Seems like we still. Can you talk, Joe? Joe? Yeah, just keep talking. Okay. Someone. Yeah, for some reason, someone likes my plane. Yeah, I like it as well. It's actually cool, and it's all airplane themed here. Actually, this one, well, this one is an airplane as well, and then we have a small riddle here. That's also airplane themed. So if you know what that is, this here on that picture, um, the black picture with the green stuff in there. If you recognize what that is, let me know in the comments. All right. So seems like people still can't hear Joe. I can hear you well, Joe. Oh, but I don't see here. It says Zoom audio, but nothing's coming. How do we get Joe's audio in here?
Yeah, I have no idea how I can make that work. Okay, so maybe next time.
All
All
right.
right.
So
make presenter, someone's writing. Oh, you hear me twice? I'm echoing? I'm echoing. All right. What is that?
Then do this. Do this. So echo should be gone now, correct? So my audio should be back. I don't know how to get Joe's audio in. All right. So I would just ask you, Joe, to share your screen and show us a little bit of Ant-Man. I hear you, so then I can just kind of repeat what you're saying. Okay. Uh-huh. Sure, wait. So now I need to share that for those guys. Which Oh, it's already, okay. It seems to be working. That's awesome. Okay. Everyone's seeing Joe's screen now. Is that correct? But it's probably small, so let us make it big. Okay. Let's make it big so everyone sees Joe's screen. All right, guys. All right, here is Ant-Man. And as you guys can see, we have that dashboard, which is super super easy to see. We see our private and public IP. We see the CPU utilization. We see the RAM utilization. We have actually two different regions in the RAM utilization. Here's the cool thing. Any unused RAM, we automatically use that as a super fast cache to your SSD drives. So the SSD drives are fast anyway. Then you might even have an NVMe drive as a level 2 cache to your drives. But then if there's any RAM unused, and RAM is, it's a major part of your computer and it's a major cost factor. But we don't let it get unused. We automatically grab it as a super fast level 1 cache to all your drives, which speeds up the system. And this kind of RAM is automatically being evicted when the system comes under memory pressure, right? So you can't really see it as RAM that is taken. In a sense, it's just being used as a cache temporarily, and it can be evicted anytime. So we see both of these with a yellow and a green bar there. And then the light gray obviously means completely unused. So that's what we have there. Then we have our dashboard here. It also shows us the drives. It shows us the storage pools, and then it shows us the top 5 antlets here. If we go to the antlets tab, if you could do that, Joe, then it switches to the full view, so it doesn't show us only the top 5, but all antlets. In this case, we only have 4, so it's kind of the same. And let me just create a new antlet. So we are, by the way, on an Anstle Nano here, right? So Anstle has 3 lines of hardware. So basically, we're all a software company. It's all about private cloud. It's about Ant-Man that you see here, making things super easy, all these things. But in the end, you need something to run it on, right? You need some sort of server. So we offer those as well. But our value add is that software that makes the private cloud super easy. But if you need something to run it on, the key device that we've been offering for many years now is the Antsle One. The Antsle One is a very unique device because it's fanless and it looks beautiful. And it's really a success in the marketplace. It's completely silent, it's dust-proof and everything, and it's being used in so many different settings. So that's the Antsle 1. We have the Antsle 2, which is the rack mount models in order to really scale out. Antsle 2, also a very great and successful device. And then we have the Antsle Nano, which is based on a Raspberry Pi 4 with full hardware virtualization. And that's what we're showing you right now here. So this is running on one of our Nano devices, which are super exciting, by the way, and also, everyone loves them. So we can create a new antlet, and why do we call those antlets and not just VMs? So that's a question we hear many times. So here's the reason. VMs means virtual machines, and virtualization is a great concept, and it gives you, all you need, the isolation of resources and everything. But it takes up resources, right? Virtualization comes at a price. And we also have a form of very lightweight virtualization, and that is called LXC. So LXC is, for those of you who know it, it's a technology that had been developed on the Linux side. LXC just stands for Linux containers. It's not the same as Docker or something, because the LXC containers, they look and feel like full virtualization. They give you a real full virtual server, but it's implemented under the hood, not with expensive virtualization, but with super low resource usage containerization. So with each of our instances in Anstle, each of our antlets, how we call them, you have a choice if you want to make that an LXC or a KVM. And the KVM can virtualize anything. So if you want to run Windows or something, or anything that's not Linux, you'd have to go KVM, because the LXC only works if you run Linux, but it can be any flavor of Linux, right? So you can have an LXC with CentOS, the next LXC with Debian, the next LXC with Ubuntu, and you name it, the fourth one with SUSE. But if it's Windows or something, you got to have the KVM. And then usually what's going out there in the world is you have completely different worlds of tools and products. One to manage your VMs, and the other world to manage your containers, right? So you do your containers with Docker and Kubernetes and all these type of things, and then you do your VMs with VMware or whatever you might want to do. And then usually you have your containers only inside the VMs, and it's crazy complicated to manage those two tool sets. And it's just, and you're wasting resources also, because the containers, they could be so efficient if they're bare metal, but most of the time they're not, because you need to have some virtualization software, and then inside the VMs you do your containers. And we feel, to make this whole thing so much more approachable and to get the most out of your hardware, which is, a huge economic factor. We have that concept of running the containers bare metal, so we do bare metal containerization, and we have them both side by side. So you have a list of your 12 antlets, and 4 of them could be KVM, and 8 of them could be LXC. And that's what makes us really unique, we feel, and that's why we call those instances antlets, right? Because there's no real word like VM or bare metal container or something, right? So we felt we needed to create, a short word for that, and antlet is how we call it. All right, so now if we want to create a new antlet, Joe, if you can just type a name now, call it whatever, live or something, and then we can pick a CentOS 7 LXC, or maybe a Debian, whatever you choose, and give it 2 gigs of RAM. And we are everywhere. We have sensible defaults, right? So we make life easy for you by not being overwhelmed with a long form of 10,000 parameters that you need to fill in, right? So literally, the most you have to fill in is the name and what template you want to use, and maybe give it the RAM, and then even the IP. We already pre-populate that field with the next available IP address. And everything else, we just have sensible defaults, and all you do is click on Create Antlet, and then it's there. So it takes a few seconds, but that's about it. And then we can Start that antlet. So there it is. Demonstration. Yeah, we just hit start. And then it's running, and then in this case, it was a CentOS 7, so we could SSH into that and just do everything with that virtual instance that that we want to do. So then with the templates, obviously, we can just take snapshots. Maybe Joe showed them how to take a snapshot and how fast that is. Just take that demonstration thing, and here's what we can do with our antlets once they're created, right? We have that general tab that shows us some general info about it. Then we have snapshots. So this is the general again. Then we have snapshots. We get back to snapshots in a sec, but let's just show first all of those tabs. The next one is virtual drives, so we can create virtual drives attached to each one of our antlets. We have virtual network, so that's where it's part of the whole software-defined networking thing that we have implemented in Ant-Man now, which we're really proud of. And that's going to be the subject of a next live stream next week with Mark, who's going to show you all the SDN software-defined networking stuff. We've made huge strides there as well, and this is only a small part of it. And then we can do USBs, so we can do USB pass-through. So if you plug something into the USB port of your whole server, you can say, okay, this should go to that specific antlet. And we have the backups. That's the whole business continuity suite that we're also going to talk about in one of the next live streams together with Mardo, who was the lead developer for the backups. So yeah, that's the overview of what you can do with your antlets. We feel that is quite complete, and we also feel this is, so simple, and it doesn't overwhelm you with those thousands of parameters and high-tech talk that only network engineers or whatever understand. This is also approachable, and that is Anstle's mission, right? So if you now go back, Joe, to the snapshots, please. And just take a new snapshot. So there's no one in the list right now. And then we just name that snapshot. And if you ever tried to do that on AWS or on Nutanix or something, it takes literally hours to take a snapshot, right? Here we just click on create snapshot, and within an instant the snapshot is there, right? And that happens under any circumstances. It's not dependent on the size of the antlet or something. If this is like gigabytes and gigabytes in size, we just have those instant snapshots. And then the cool thing is with those ellipses there, the three dots in the right hand side, we see what we can do with that, right? So you can roll back to a snapshot, so you can use it as kind of a lightweight backup. But then you can create an antlet from this snapshot, and you can create a template from this snapshot. So here's the thing. You start with the CentOS instance, then you install all your software, the open source tools, maybe your own software that you're using, or you build up a scenario to test something out. And once you've installed everything, after each step, you can take a snapshot, right? And then you install something new and that didn't work. Oh, you just roll back to the last snapshot. And then you try again, and you work up your way. And then you've installed everything, and then you take the final snapshot, and then you create a template from that. And that is also instantaneous. So then you have your new template of your specific CentOS with all your tools that you need. And boom, at the click of a button, you got your own template. And then at any time, cookie cutter style, you can just create your own antlets from that on this server or on other servers or wherever. And this just makes it so super easy to be productive. And we haven't seen that anywhere else. So let me know if you've seen it somewhere else. But we feel that is super unique, in many use cases, that is, such a difference compared to all the other tools that are out there. All right, so that was this, and then what we want to talk about in detail is the ADS, and yeah, what's the best way, Joe? Just click the ADS tab in the sidebar, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll just repeat for you, Joe. I hear what Joe's saying, and I'll just repeat it for you guys. So we already have 2 ADS drives here set up. It's called, what is it, Mac D1 and Mac D2. If you want, yeah. And as always, we can just create a new ADS drive. And then let me explain what an ADS drive is. It looks and feels like a drive, but the actual data in that drive is distributed over the nodes, over the different servers you have in your cluster. So, and you need at least three nodes in a cluster to use ADS. And then it's a 3-for-2 redundancy, right? So every piece of data is there at least 2 times on that cluster of 3, which means if any of your 3 servers in the cluster goes down, completely down, right? I mean, like, it just fails. Let's say the PSU fails or anything, right? You can have redundant PSUs, obviously, with Anstle. But say that server fails for some reason, motherboard fails, CPU fails, so that whole thing is down. That means it's not only the CPU is down, the RAM obviously is gone because you can't access the RAM without the CPU, and the storage of that node is also gone because you need the CPU to get access to that direct attached storage. But with ADS, there's nothing to worry about because each piece of data is stored at least 2 times in that cluster of 3. So in case one goes down, you still have all your data that's in that ADS drive. And that all happens, transparently under the hood. So if you use that cluster to serve some websites or to run your software that needs to be up all the time and things like that, or you need it just to be able to scale, to add more nodes that all access that same data, then ADS is just awesome, and we made it so simple to use. You saw that here. Did you create a new one, Joe, or you just... Yeah, that's it. And then we can give it a size limitation if we want, and boom, it's there, right? So, and that's all shared among all those drives. And then what you could do, say you run a website on WordPress, you just have your WordPress Antle running on all like 3 nodes, and they all access the data on that shared drive, right? So one is with WordPress, for example, it's driven by a database, so the database can be replicated, but still you have a problem because if people upload something on your WordPress site, say you have a WordPress site where people can upload stuff, and you need that, right? And that those uploaded files, they don't land in the database, they will just be stored in the plain file system. And you can replicate that file system with ADS as well. So then if one of the servers fail, the other 2 can take over, and you don't not only have the same database, but you also have the same file system. So if someone uploaded a file just a millisecond ago, and then the server fails, that data is still available on the other 2 servers, and your WordPress site can just keep humming, and everything's there. So, and that works with any other application. Of course, we have other customers that have their own web apps. We have people that run business telephony, IP telephony servers, and all these type of things. So that is really cool stuff. All right. Yeah. So it's already been some time now that we've demoed all this, but obviously the live stream is all about you guys, our viewers. So let me just make that window small again. Yeah, you can just stop sharing your screen, Joe, so that we see you again. And yeah, let's look at some of the comments here. All right. So, any questions, guys? I'm here. So, Timothy is asking Bernie if a single Anstle is all that's left in the cluster. Are the shared drives available read-only? They are not, right? So, you would need at least two nodes that can take over, and that's why we have that minimum cluster size of 3. So that's how it's all set up. If one is left, then there is some data recovery possible, obviously, but you know the whole setup is there's a minimum cluster size of 3. You can have larger clusters, obviously. And then if there's 2 left, you should replace the third one so that you're back up to 3. So if 2 of your 3 will fail, there is some trouble. It doesn't necessarily mean that all the data is gone, but it probably means that some of the data is lost, right? So that was the answer, Timothy. So any more questions, guys? So there's obviously some sort of, oh, here it's coming. Received my 3 nanos last night, all 3 running. There seems to be some sort of thing. Until can't see, last seen one of them. Just reach out to support@antsle.com. That's our support channel. And you got your first antlet up, so that's great to hear. So, and as for the roadmap, that's what we're talking about, right? So many of our customers are from the cybersecurity field, so that's the first thing we're gonna come up with a special cybersecurity solution. It's called Ant-Man CS for cybersec, and it will make it even easier to set up your own scenarios. You will have like groups of antlets and groups of templates, so that you have like a whole scenario of templates that you can easily spin up and tear down again, and some more exciting cybersecurity features. So anyone that's out there in the cybersecurity field, just drop us an email at marketing@antsle.com, and we can share some more details with you. We have a little PDF of the features that are coming up, and we'd love to hear more input from that. We're going to further develop the backups and the business continuity. We're going to simplify the scheduling of backups and managing your space in the Anstle cloud, so that you have like retention times for your backups, and after that they're going to be auto deleted. We're also coming up with end-to-end encryption of your backups. That's something many customers have been asking for. So that's all on our roadmap, and with the Antsle distributed storage, Hyper-Converged Infrastructure, Right now, we have kind of a hot standby, and that is what I explained to you with that WordPress website, for example. And we're also going to implement, but that just means you got to have your Antlet up in each of the nodes, which takes up resources, right? So if you don't want that, you just only want to have your Antlet up on one of the nodes, and if that fails, just spin it up automatically on a second one. That's going to be called a warm standby, and we're going to be implementing that as well. And yeah, those are a few things that are on our roadmap. Let me know, guys, what you think about that. Let me read the comments. Can you share CPU and memories between clusters? What VDI solutions? Talking about security. Yeah, so someone said you can turn on ZFS encryption. Absolutely. So the end-to-end encryption, we're going to implement that using, someone knows under the hood we're using ZFS, but we're hiding that from you guys, right? We don't want Anstle to be for guys that understand the FS and stuff like that. We're making Ant-Man super simple. But if you know what's going on under the hood, well, it's ZFS in our case. There's ZFS encryption, and we use that to enable the end-to-end encryption with our encrypted backups. We actually have it running in our lab here. It just means in Ant-Man, we need to have some sort of form or input field for you to enter the passphrase. And then only you know that passphrase, and it's going to be necessary to mount your Antlet. So yes, going to do that. Can you share CPU and memory between clusters? Not sure what that means. I mean, you can use the CPU on one node, CPU on the other node, and share it in a way that you implement load balancing. So you could do that. Load balancing is part of Ant-Man, even in the essential plan. So we have the essential plan, which is the entry-level plan, and we have the grow plan that gives you all the features of SDN and ADS and things like that. And then there's also the scale plan for enterprise use. So even in the essential plan, you have load balancing, and with that, you can kind of share RAM and CPU because you have the same Antlet on different nodes, and through the load balancing, it's automatically shared. I think that's fair to say. With the VDI solutions, we actually have a template that works nicely with VDI, but I forgot now what the technology is. We also work nicely with Citrix, which gives you, actually, if you want to do serious VDI and scale it up and have lots of virtual desktops, we definitely recommend using Citrix. So that's all there. Anyone interested in VDI solutions, just reach out to us, marketing@antsle.com, so that we can discuss it and maybe have a one-to-one Zoom call. Someone asking for the Nano, what kind of projects can I run with 4 gig of memory? I consider it is very few amount for memory, isn't it? Well, it's a Raspberry Pi. Right now, the Raspberry Pi 4, the maximum amount of memory it comes with is 4 gigabyte, but we can cluster them together, so that's for one. Also, the 8 gig Raspberry Pi is on the horizon. It's not yet available in volume, but we're definitely going to move to the Raspberry Pi 8 gigs of RAM soon. But you're gonna be surprised what you can do with 4 gigs of RAM, right? If you do anything Windows, 4 gigs of RAM is nothing, right? But the Raspberry Pi is definitely not the best device for Windows anyway. Windows is basically still an Intel-based operating system. They have something for ARM right now, so it might work. But the Raspberry Pi is definitely the best device for Linux-based things. So if you want to run your own name server, it's just 512 megabytes, you're good with that. If you want to run like a GitLab, or there are other competitors of GitLab that give you your own source code repositories, Git-based, right? 512 megabytes, you should be absolutely fine with that. You run your VPN server, you need half a gigabyte. And then if you do that all as LXCs, which most of the time you can within the Linux world, right? You don't need to have different kernels and virtualization, and because with the real full-blown virtualization, you actually reserve the RAM and nobody else can use it. But with the LXC, if you have an Antlet that has 1 gigabyte, those 1 gigabyte is not reserved. If at times that Antlet might use up only 300 megs, and then the other 700 megs can be used for the other Antlets. So you can do a lot, and then you run tools like whatever, Redmine, which we like to use, or even WordPress doesn't need a ton of memory. So you can do a lot with 4 gigabytes, right? You can absolutely do a lot. If you just look at it from a Windows perspective, yeah, then 4 gigabyte is not that much. But if it's Linux and if it's server world, right? We're talking servers here, right? We're not talking desktops or anything. It's also one of the use cases of a Raspberry Pi to replace your desktop or something. Then you cannot really virtualize it, right? You need the 4 gigabytes to run your desktop. But with Anstle, it's all about servers. It's about HTTP servers running your websites, or running your web apps, or running name servers, or running Redmine or GitLab, or whatever you want to do, and you're absolutely fine with 4 gigabytes. Okay. Yeah. So as for the offer that I promised, let me reiterate that we're a software company. We have those plans, the Ant-Man Essential Plan and the Ant-Man Grow Plan I'm talking about today. The Ant-Man Scale is on request or quote only for enterprise customers. I don't want to talk about the scale plan in detail today. If you guys are interested in that, just reach out to sales@antsle.com, and we'll quote you that. For today, I want to focus on the essential plan and on the grow plan. And you can look up the details on antsle.com/pricing, and you see the plans listed there. So with the essential plan, that goes for $348 a year. You can get a lot of things. You get access to support. You have a certain number of tickets per year. You have access to our business repositories, which gives you, the latest updates, even kernel updates, whatever, so that you don't run into vulnerabilities. And you also have software-defined networking, as long as it's internal in your cluster. You have load balancing, you have multi-node management. So that is a great functionality. With the newer stuff that we have, the software-defined networking and VLANs, even when connecting to the outside world, and the brand new ADS, which we talked about in this video, that is part of the Grow Plan. And the very special offer I have today, but that is limited to five customers that can get that. So it's a limited offer. And that means if you buy an essential plan, we're going to upgrade it for you guys for free for life, right? So you pay just the price for the essential, $348 a year, which is $29 a month, and we upgrade it for you to a Grow Plan, and the price of a grow plan is $149 a month, or that is $1,788 a year. So you just pay the $348 for the essential. We'll upgrade it for you for free and for lifetime. Upgrade any essential plan for life to a grow plan so that you can use it for ADS, for your clusters, for the higher support tier, and for many more things, for the full-blown SDN. It's limited to 5 customers, and per customer it's a limit of 3 licenses, so that you can use it for all 3 nodes of your cluster. So we feel that's a great offer. The first 5 that email us at sales@antsle.com will get that offer. So claim yours right now. We limit that to 5 customers. Per customer, it's going to be up to 3 licenses, and it's a free lifetime upgrade from Essential to Grow. So it works like you just buy the Grow plan. You're going to be billed every year. As long as you don't cancel, you can cancel anytime, right? Every year for those $348. And we upgrade you for free to the Grow plan, which has all the features, especially in the ADS area that we show you today. All right, guys, so that's going to be your reward for watching this video to the end. I think we're basically done. So someone saying the Nano is great for running third-party controllers locally, IoT, Wi-Fi, etc. I absolutely agree. And then, will there be an app store for Antlets for third party? That's a great question, and that's actually something we're working on, and we're going to start out with that on the cybersecurity front. So what we want to have is for you to be able to share with others what templates you created. And we're going to have some curation for that, obviously. And then in the end, there will be an app store for apps that other people upload and share, and some of them might be free, and most of them will probably be free, but some of them might be paid. For example, as a virtual firewall device, we recommend a solution called Sonic Wall. You might look into that, and that could be something that's in that app store, or some whatever VPN solutions. It makes a lot of sense to have all that in the App Store. And thanks for that question. I love that, and we're looking forward to see those times when we have our own Anstle App Store. So when are we getting the mobile app for the Anstle? That's also a very good question. The mobile app is already here in our lab. You probably saw some photos, some screenshots of the mobile app on our web pages. It just hasn't been a priority so far because we needed to focus on getting the AWS out, getting also some quality into our product. We've been developing fast, and we needed to get some quality back in there. It's always going to be like, okay, we're going to have a few bugs because we're a fast-moving startup, but at some point we needed to clean up a few things and develop ADS, develop the cybersecurity solution. But the mobile app is already there. Glad you're asking, and it's glad, I'm happy that some of our customers are asking for that. So yeah, let's make it a priority, and it should be there within the next few months. So what's the next question? Someone's asking, offer available for current subscription holders. Well, yeah, it's for new subscription, right? If you have a subscription right now, we won't upgrade it for free, right? But if you choose to get another one, as long as you buy a new essential plan, we're going to upgrade it for free and for life to the Grow plan. Right? It works for existing customers, but it only works for new plans, obviously. Is there a German European distribution yet? No, it's not. It's definitely something that's on the horizon. But anyway, we focus on US and Canada at this point in time. Anyone that places orders from abroad, we usually fulfill it, but we just don't advertise outside of US and Canada. It's going to be coming, but we have limited resources, we have limited capital. So yeah, it might come maybe after the next round of financing. And I'm always open to cooperate with some companies that want to do some distribution overseas. But our main focus right now is the US and Canada. All right. So, yeah, I think that's it. If there's no more questions, make sure to write your email at sales@antsle.com if you want to buy that essential plan, get it upgraded to Grow for Life. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties with getting the audio for Joe into it. I promise we'll fix that until next week. And the plan is to have one live stream every week now at this time. Please also let us know if this time works for everyone, right? 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. Just let us know if that works for everyone. If you have other suggestions, let us know either right here in the live channel or send that email to marketing@ansle.com. All right. So my daughter Clara asked me to greet her. So hi Clara, she's watching as well. And yeah, that was the live stream. And see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.